Hey everybody, hope you're all enjoying the new season. I know I am. Got that on my first Black Tusk retaliation. Thank you, Division devs. I love you. Anyway, today I want to talk about the hunters in the Division. Specifically how they've been handled since their introduction and why I think they need to be reworked narratively for the future. Before I start, I want to mention that any criticism in this video comes from a place of love. I love these games, and I think that genuine criticism that isn't constructive is completely unnecessary, so I'll try to give proper feedback and possible suggestions on what can actually be improved. Now, the Hunters were introduced into the Division back when Survival was first brought to the game, and were easily one of the coolest new additions. I think everyone who's played Survival remembers how scared they would be whenever they heard this.
Hostile inbound.
And for good reason, these bastards were terrifying. The moment you entered the Dark Zone, you'd see bodies mangled and strung up by them. They distorted your shade tech whenever they were nearby, which hadn't happened up until this point. And to top it all off, they were the strongest enemies in the game and had a one-shot melee. They instantly became iconic, and one of the best parts of Survival. So when they returned in the second game, I got really excited. Especially since the mission where you first run into one retained that scary vibe from Survival. But as you all know, that isn't really how they were in the rest of the game. I think there are three major reasons why the Hunters are so disappointing in the Division 2. The first is just plain and simple aura loss. The Hunters in the first game had so much aura. As I mentioned before, messing with your SHD tech and those creepy noises made them so much more of a threat. Not to mention, all those people strung up in the Dark Zone added to that air of mystery and danger. But now, they kind of just show up. Yeah, they still mess with your tech and have the smoke bomb and everything, but you don't really hear their noises when you fight them anymore. They don't look as scary, and they aren't that hard to beat. Now, this is probably more of an issue with power creep rather than the Hunters themselves. But back in Survival, the Hunters were a real threat. They were really hard to beat, and were only made harder by the fact that you couldn't change their difficulty. Survival was a battle royale extraction game mode, so there was one difficulty for everyone, which means the Hunters were always hard to beat. Unless you had like super good gear, but that wasn't as common due to the time limit and virus mechanic. Now you can just crank down the difficulty to normal and whoop their ass. On top of that, new enemies like the Marauder drone, rogue agents, and with the newest season, BTSU Team 9, made the Hunters look not as dangerous in comparison. All of this ruined the Hunters' aura, and this only got worse when another one of their most defining characteristics got taken away. The mystery. The mystique is all gone. I understand why they did this. The Hunters were so cool, and we all wanted to know more about them, but I think that they went too far and revealed too much about them. In the first game, you know literally nothing about them. You don't know their motivations, who they are, why they're even there. All you know is that they're killing agents and you'll be next if you don't fight back. But now, we know why they're around, we know how they have shade tech, we know how they're recruited. The hell, we even know who their recruiter is, and we kill him! The less we knew, the more we feared them, and now that we know so much, there's nothing to really be scared of. That, and the issue that is probably the most obvious. The biggest issue with the Hunters in the Division 2 are that they are overused. In the same way as when you show off the killer in a horror movie too much, they stop being scary, the Hunters suffered the same fate. They were used in a couple of manhunt missions, the Hunter masks had you fighting multiple of them across DC and New York City, and then you fight like 7 of them in every match of Countdown. The game mode everyone replays over and over again. Seeing the Hunters everywhere is probably what ruined them the most. You overuse any enemy in a game and they become a lot less interesting. I appreciate that they gave us a bunch of free masks, but now it's to the detriment of the Hunters themselves. So what's the solution? Well, it's kind of a tough situation. Once you give everything away, there's no turning back from that. You can't just have less of them and make them harder in Div 3 because we still won't really be scared. We know too much already. But let's try and be creative here and figure something out. First idea I got is pretty simple, but I also think it's the worst one, which is to just have a bigger hunter. The Elite Hunter. The Alpha. This would give the franchise another big scary hunter that we know nothing about, and it could make for a fun antagonist. The problem with this is that we already know the hunters work for Homeland Security, so even if there was some elite hunter we don't know about, we still know too much about them. There's also the issue that this is basically what the recruiter was, and once again, so that won't really work. Another idea I have is to have rogue hunters. Seeing as rogue agents are already a thing and hunters use an enhanced version of SHD tech, them going rogue would not only create a sense of mystery again because their motivations would be unknown, but it could be made even better by giving them shade tech that players can never get. Stick with me here. What if these hunters go rogue? We don't know why, we're never told why. All we know is that they still want to kill Division agents and that they've gone from using dead agents' watches to make enhanced shade tech to making their own that nobody has access to. Not the original hunters, not rogue agents, and the player never gets the tech from killing them. I think this would give rogue hunters that aura and mystique that the original hunters lost, and make them a shoo-in to be the new boss fight for survivors. This isn't perfect though, they are still the same hunters, so we still know quite a bit about their backstory, and if their visuals don't change, then they will feel kind of redundant. But I still feel like this could be a good route to take. The last idea I got is to introduce a completely new group that are scarier and more intimidating than the hunters. Have them kill off Calvin McManus and wipe out his team of hunters at the end of the Division 2's last season to set them up as a major threat, then keep them mysterious in the Division 3. It's a clean slate to start from, and the devs aren't tied to any previous groups, so this new group can be as different as they want them to be. I think this resolves most of the major issues that have affected the hunters, but it does also kind of feel like a cop-out. We aren't fixing the hunters here, we're replacing them. Maybe that's what's necessary though, considering how much the hunters have been ruined already. Oh wait, actually one more. Next DLC takes place in Central Park, right? That place that's just a massive burial ground for all the green poison victims? Get this. Zombie hunters! No, I'm just playing. That would be funny though. But with all that said, we are done. There's still potential with the hunters, I truly believe that, but Massive's definitely gotta switch things up if they want to bring them back to their former glory. What do you guys think though? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and to see what you all come up with, so leave your ideas in the comments below. That's all from me though. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.